All right, guys, so we're live here. So, again, been a while since I've done a live stream, so just figured I would do one here. If you guys are watching, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done also already. And come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. And as you can see here, this is the theme card of the week. It is FOMC week, and that really was a microcosm of really the last 2 days here. And there's a lot to talk about here. I'm probably going to forget half the stuff I wanted to talk about, and sure we'll get sidetracked here a little bit. So I'm going to do the video a little bit differently than normal. I'll try to kind of go through a few things, and then we'll just kind of do questions there and to see where we go. So anyways, let's get some likes on here, and we'll get going here. So anyways, markets today, basically, they finished flat to positive here for the most part. The Qs are up 5 basis points. Spider's up about the same. Dow flat, and the Russell slightly green here. We had a gap up open, and I talked about this. It was kind of like yesterday on Twitter. I talked about it in the trading room this morning and in the Gen chat in our Discord. I thought we were kind of looking for a little bit of a dip here. We actually had a short on the Russell earlier today, and that took a while to play out, but it finally kind of came in, and we saw a little bit of mean reversion here. But this market right now, this is really, really, really low grade chop the last 2 days, and we kind of expect that coming into the week. First 2 days of the week before the FOMC. And I'm probably not going to see too much moves here, but a lot of pinning, a lot of faking out. And I think it's going to be like that really all week. And I don't think that, I don't even think tomorrow is going to change that. So I would expect we're probably going to get this type of action, but with a wider range tomorrow. And I think Thursday could be, I don't know if it would say just as bad, but I think whatever move happens Wednesday is going to get reversed Thursday. That's kind of, I feel like it's setting up to be one of those FOMC days here, or FOMC weeks. But a lot of trapping right now, and this rate cut stuff, like, I could go off on a tangent on this. So these odds here, there's absolutely, it's a complete circus right now. So they were 25, and then they were 50. Now they're back to 25, and now they're 50. You've got, the Wall Street Journal, Nick Chiramos basically confirming overnight with a leak that it's going to be 50, and then Fed funds futures flipping this morning, going back to 25 and now back to 50. This is going to be a mess, and that's why I say that I don't think we're going to get resolution on this, whatever way we're going to go, until probably Thursday. Maybe I could even see us pinning, closing the week with a doji. I think I said that yesterday. Like weekly candle close where we open. The reason I say that is because nobody has a clue what the market actually expects. And nobody can tell me with confidence if 50 basis points is bullish or 50 basis points is bearish, or if 25 is bullish or 25 is bearish. I can make you the case right now for all of them being, one or the other, right? You could say 25 is dovish because it means the Fed's not panicking. But then you could turn around and say it's bearish because now the Fed is foolishly behind the curve. On the other side, you could say 50 is dovish because they're bringing more liquidity into the market. On the other hand, you could say 50 is bearish because it means they're essentially panicking and admitting that they screwed up. So what's it going to be? Well, honestly, it doesn't matter. The people who are going to try and come up with a big brain macro trade tomorrow are the ones that are going to get chopped. And really in this environment here, like slowing it down, taking good setups, waiting, don't front run. Over trading is a recipe for disaster here. Let them make their moves, let the algos fight over one another, and then we can kind of go from there and react. That said, I don't think we're going to go past 570 one way or the other. So that's a little nugget right now that I'll give you. And this is for Friday on SPY. I don't think that 570 call wall, unless they remove it, I think that's going to hold if they try to pump this thing. You can see 65 here, and then a few on the way, a few smaller ones here, and then really 550. That would be like your absolute like panic floor. But either way, I think a lot of people right now are really positioned for a trend move, and I think you should be like positioning for mean reversion and expecting mean reversion. That's kind of how I'm trying to navigate this. So again, spiders, flats here, and not really much else going on today. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Again, you can see here, there's 550 drawn right in there. Essentially, it's like 549, but either way, that would be your floor. There's a little bit more like kind of a neutral at 565, which is where we were today, and 570. Now, if we got above 570 somehow, yeah, that would be like a huge propellant or accelerant, but I seriously doubt that's allowed to happen here at this juncture. So interesting market here, interesting tape. We had a little bit of and some of this stuff going on here, like look at what KRE was doing today. I mean, can you tell me that they were not trying to front run 50? I mean, look at what KRE was doing this morning. They're just relentless call buying, and that's what was propping up the Russell. And it did finally back off here. So just wild market here. Now, so if it's going to be 50, and that is the consensus now, it's going to be 50, right? I guess. Where's the bond bulls at, right? TNX. Why is 10-year green? If they're going to increase the cutting of the rates, shouldn't yields be down? 2-year was up more than anything, up 5.5 basis points. Yield curve flattened out. This has kind of been what I've been saying. Everybody's packed in long bonds, long TLT, and I mean, at this juncture here, so we know a volatility event is coming right here on this day, right? Are you a buyer down here? Or I should say, do you want to be selling down here? Comes into play of, I just think bonds are really crowded. And to further that, dollar was green today. What else was green? You guessed it. It piled into this too. Well, I guess oil backed off, but did it really back off that much by the end of the day? Yeah, no, that's a different contract. Okay, so I'm glad I brought that. I was going to say there's no way it came back down that far. Yeah, oil is green, up 1.5. What? So again, that's why forget there's so much noise out there right now, and nobody knows whether this is bullish or this is bearish. I don't think I've seen a Fed meeting in a while be this have like this low of consensus as to what actually is going to happen in terms of like what is perceived as bullish or bearish or what they're actually going to do. So it's interesting because they sent their insider out last night, and I guess 50. I mean, I didn't think that they would do 50 because that essentially means that they're admitting that they're wrong and that they're panicking. But we'll see. We'll see about tomorrow. So nobody knows what the real reaction is going to be. But anyway, so 570 I think on SPY is a pretty big level. Triple Qs here, right into this big fat wedge. We'll see. It's a decision here. If this comes down though, and we take this out, you've got lower highs here on the daily, 3 of them. There's multiple trend lines here converging as well. Big one right there, small one, and then medium. So we got big, small, and medium right there. Sounds like a dollar menu thing. Right inside of this wedge. So very cut and dry. If we can push back and get above 480, 485.50, in much better shape here. Yeah, I don't really think that's going to last. There's just a lot at that 570 SPY. IWM 220. So that's where they're sitting on Friday. So again, I could really see us just honestly finishing sideways at the end of the week. Unless things change here. Dow, new all-time high today, and so did the markets. By the way, so don't forget to golf clap for the market because we did make a new all-time high today. I think it was almost a new all-time closing high too. But we did make new all-time highs by 50 cents on the SPY and 1 point on the SPX. But Dow new all-time highs also, but it did come back in and close red. Semis, again, this is like the NQ, specifically like NVIDIA. That's possibly 4 now, lower highs. I don't know when the last time NVIDIA did that. It hasn't, right, since the whole run-up. So watching these semis closely here, hit the trend line at the same time the Qs. Again, we got a lot of these trend lines here. Smaller one, bigger one. 230 is kind of a point of control. IGV, my favorite, down 40 cents today. Did gap, kind of a little gap and crap, but it's still holding up well. I think Oracle finally managed to put in a red day. That thing is ridiculously overdone. Adobe, I'm a little disappointed in Adobe. I thought that was going to have a chance to bounce back. There is some support though at 510. And we also had obviously the transports today. Got above that level, so there's a positive for bulls. And this is can we get through 16 too? That's what it comes down to, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could argue 6 times. But guess what? We zoom out. You got higher lows, right? So ascending triangle. And this is the one that I think the bears are going to hate because it's, I don't know how you can make it if this starts to break above that. I just don't know what the argument would be. And then speaking of RSP, equal weight S&P, new all-time closing high today as well. So a couple things. We talked about rates. I don't need to go over it extensively. XHB up 1.1, new all-time high, new all-time closing high. What else is new? VNQ. I talked about this yesterday. Okay, we might now finally have the evening star playing out there. So Doji, I mean, right into the 618, right? If we weren't going into the FOMC, I would have shorted this. But I'm not gonna take a swing into that because there's too many things that can go wrong. It could easily go up to 102, but that did get hit pretty nicely. Still really strong. What was weak today though? Before I forget, defensives. XLV down 1%, XLP down 1 as well, and XLU down 6 cents. Again, if they're cutting more, why are these down? Why is oil up? Interesting stuff. XLF 24 cents. That's fine right now. KRE, it did come off the highs, but I mean, this is not looking bad. You got higher lows now on the daily. It feels like they're front running 50, right? I mean, even though it closed off the highs at the end of the day, like it feels like they're front running 50 by just even doing this. And again, you could even, like a lot of things wedging up here, right? So ABE, same exact pattern. Broker dealers, new all-time high, new all-time closing high. Oil did, so we talked about it a minute ago, but as far as technicals are concerned, we got above 70. We closed above 70, so we cleared that. You are into the 20 MA after an extended move, so it may need to back off. But oil, so the reports I've read, were piled in short ahead of the FOMC, and I think they're getting squeezed right now. Will they get squeezed again? We'll see. But I'm now, at this point, I think we could put in a higher low. I haven't really made any comments definitively on oil in a while because I just haven't liked anything about it, on either side of the trade. But it's definitely interesting. 72, 74, and then the trend line up there. I wouldn't rule out one more little flush though, but I don't know how much is left. Energy stocks, they were pretty good too. XLE at 1 1/3. You got back above the line. So that looks a lot better. XOP, spiked, we swept the 52-week low. Right? Tail candle and then V-shape. So we'll see. These now have room for higher lows. OYH has room for higher lows now. Probably got into this too early. Should have waited for that 200 week, but you know, it got hit. It's back above 280 again. All these things depend where they close the week too. I mean, if this can close the week back above 280, or you know where it is now, it's definitely good. Same thing with XLE being at that level as well. Uranium didn't really do much today, but you can make a case it's kind of flagging here via CCJ. I would prefer a flag to take place above the 50 moving average, but you do have a possible W pattern here, maybe even a WV setting up. NM starting to look more like a V as it's more of a pullback there, and then NJ same thing. Nat gas pulled back. Again, still working through 240, but if this goes sideways here and flags, I think it's going to 250. And then dollar, and then here's another thing. So the dollar we mentioned earlier, it's holding on to this area, that pivot low. The longer it goes sideways down here, the less I like it on the weekly. But again, shouldn't it be going down, right? If they're cutting more aggressively, shouldn't it be going down? It tells you that there's not, like everybody's already expected the Fed to get aggressive. They've already priced this in. They've already expected the economy to collapse, right? And there's nobody left to push it down on the favorable news. So I see that with yields, I see that with oil, I see that with the dollar right now. I see that on the opposite side of gold. Shouldn't gold be up if they're cutting more aggressively? Well, now maybe all this means they're not going to go and they're going to go 25. I don't know, but based on what I saw in banks and other things, I don't think that's the case. But yeah, gold down 0.5%. I said last week it's really strong, it's acting well, but the only thing I don't like is that you're pumping into the FOMC. I prefer you to be down in the FOMC, and then you can pump back up. Is it in any sort of danger? Probably not. I mean, it'll be fine. It's on breakout on the monthly. It's in a secular bull market. It'll be fine. But in the short term, you know, I wouldn't be chasing it up here. Silver down 8 cents. Not really bad here. This could just flag and work that off and go higher. I think a pullback would be fine too. Platinum here flat. My palladium, she's gone, dude. Like, now there will be pullbacks, but I think this is it. So I've been talking about this for like almost most of the year, probably. I think that's it, guys. So, and you know, everybody's like all gung ho about gold right now. Why don't you like palladium? Like, look at where it is relative to gold. This is the catch up play. This is where the value's at. So, I think she's going here. 200 MA, right? I left the station, so you got some resistance at 12. We expect a dip there. Maybe even a dip. You know, if we reverse tomorrow back below these pivots again, FOMC, we're pumping into that. So, and you don't generally want that, but I don't know. It looks like a long-term major bottom to me. Again, copper rate cuts. Why is it green? All right. Bitcoin. Yeah. So again, just a lot of noise, right? Everything inside of this channel is noise, bull consolidation until proven otherwise. So the little dip yesterday did nothing. It turned into a 1, 2, 3 pullback and a pop. Again, still got to get through 63, 64 right in this area here. But it still could come back down. But again, a lot of chop here. We'll see. Does Bitcoin like what the Fed says tomorrow? That'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll get into questions in a second. I'm going to see if there's anything else I had. Just remember, okay, so that's it. Just remember this though. Tomorrow, remember this all day. Might save you from making a bad trade. All right. Cool, nice group here. All right. Yeah, so got a question about Fortinet, FTNT. So this one's really had a big run. So somebody asked me about this a while ago, and I obviously did a fib here, and look at that. So that would have been your area to buy. Perfect 618. So yeah, you got to get through. Trend is up. I like what it's doing, separating. The moving averages are starting to separate there. Monthly, yeah, I mean, it's just a big consolidation pattern, and it's trying to break out. Just be careful. Like these breakouts are tricky. Like you've got a level here. It was basically like $75, right? So 75 to 80. You get there. You tried. You couldn't. You tried. You couldn't. Tried. Ultimately, as long as it like maintains like higher lows, as long as it continues to base in this upper area, it's probably going to path of least resistance is probably going to take it higher. But there's a reason why breakouts take a lot longer than you think sometimes, because a lot, like look at SPY today. It's short stop out. Every amateur chases up here, and then you get positioning to get skewed, and then it has to come back in. I was just actually thinking about this stock today, because I'm probably a good example. But GoDaddy. Remember, like a year ago, people were like, "Oh, this is a short. This is a short. It's overbought. It's overbought." I look where it is now. But if you go out to a monthly, this was coming for 6 years, so it's not overbought, because this is the type of move it should be doing right now after a base like that. So that's why those breakouts are tricky, because like everybody wants to catch that GoDaddy move, right? And sometimes it can take a little while, but this chart's strong. I don't know if I would go long. I would like to see a little bit more firming up personally. Like if you got the weekly to firm up a little bit more, 20 MA catching up to price, and it's still up here, then I think it could be ready to go. But yeah, nice chart. Yeah, it is the clown show. Yeah, yeah, I would rather, that's what I'm saying. I'd rather go and cool down instead of hot to decision. Yeah, you just gapped up into. I mean, like we literally just gapped up into double top. The SPY, S&P, the high is 5669 spot 67. Today the high 5670 spot 81. Like a picture perfect double top. Now, granted, you do have a higher low. You came up here and you put in a higher, so that's fair. But yeah, I mean, and the same thing kind of with gold too. I mean, like you're definitely coming in hot to a degree. I don't know if that would do it. Tony's saying 25 only finally pull back. They probably would. I just say that because remember when they were going, yields were still going up in all of 2023, and they just kept going up. And then yields started going down, and then they just kept going up anyway. So the home builders are very tricky. They are very supported. But yeah, that's just, everybody's chasing tech stocks. All you got to do is buy XHB, I guess. Oh, so you got a couple tickers here. Blackstone. I looked at Blackstone in a minute. All-time high, right? Double top here. You have kind of like almost like it was almost kind of like a pseudo cup and handle type look. This was a nice breakout here. Look at the consolidation up, back test, and then taking off. I'm assuming you're asking me if it's a short at double top, and I'm going to say probably not, because of the consolidation. Now, if it came back in and closed back below, yeah, that would be a red flag. Yeah, so if you came back down and closed below like 140, or even 145, that could be a red flag. But right now it's overbought, yeah, but you know, looking at the bigger picture, this is still pretty strong. Oracle, yeah, Oracle I think's done. I think Oracle's done. Unless I'm missing, unless they're going to turn this into the next NVIDIA hype trade. We're done with NVIDIA now, right? It's got 4 lower highs. This isn't where, you know, this isn't our toy anymore. We're going to pump Oracle now. Yeah, they get it, the next trillion-dollar company here. But I don't know, it looks done. I know that it had a nice bounce yesterday, and it held up today, but you didn't take out the high. And that monthly looks a little... It's going to have volume too by the end of the month, a lot of volume. So we'll see. I think that might be done for a while. If you wanted to short, you could just do it with a stop above the high on a weekly close. You're only risking 8 points or so. So it's not a bad risk reward. And then if it does, you know, lose, you know, you got 20 points on the downside before it gets to the support. So it wouldn't be a bad risk reward. DLTR. I got to look at these a little bit closer. I don't look at this in Dollar General. This might have bottomed. Oh, look at that. There's a double bottom. Should have. Joe was paying attention to this. Wow, yeah, that's a nice level. Look at that. I mean, you can't really make it any better than that, can you? I'll bet you there's a fib there too. Let's go to the all-time low. At like 680. Okay, so yeah, and pierce the 618. Yeah, so that probably is bottom. The only thing is you already kind of missed the move because it's already up 13 points. So maybe wait for pullback, consolidation, or some type of retest. But that might have bottomed. So nice move there. I'm just want to look at DG too because I know they got smoked as well. This one's definitely softer. It's the same chart though. So I'm going to say yes to these being maybe having bottom potential, or at least like, you know, local, you know, bottom for a while. Yeah, I know they took those big haircuts a few weeks ago though, but DLTR looks pretty solid. Yeah, no problem, no problem. Little Bowski saying 3 standard deviation move, but up or down is a question. On SPX. So for 3 standard devs, we're gonna need to. I don't know if we'd be in really a position to get there too quickly. I'm assuming you're using the daily. But so that would be like a really extreme. I mean, we could use this one's a little bit more weighted. Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't think we're going to 58. I think 57's max right now. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think we're going through that. It could close them out. But I think I'm more in the camp that we'll get a move, but I think we're going to... I think everybody's looking for a trend move, and I think that's why we're not going to get it. We're just going to get like this. But there will be a trend leg, another one, eventually. Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, Fed talking heads are out there. Yeah, they threw them. They threw their little boy out there last night, Nick Tiramos, and they only toss him out there when they want to tell the market something, right? And then the futures changed this morning, which is weird. So they're fading the Fed insider, I guess. Thanks, Frankie. Yeah, everybody hit the thumbs up. John saying thanks. Trading Dutch market AEX. Still follow you. So usually follow lockstep. Yeah, they do. Everything follows the S&P. I haven't looked at the AEX in a minute. It's not that different. Lower high there, I'd be a little careful with that. That's got to get to, you got the gap at 907, 920. Trying to put in a higher low here. It held at 200 though. It's holding up okay. Yeah, I haven't looked at the AEX in a minute. Oh, and we got German friends here too. So DAX, we can look at the DAX too. Yeah, DAX still fine. Never got to that trend line there. Reversal off the high, so there's definitely supply up here. And again, this is almost the same like those charts I was just showing you about. Like everybody knows, like when you make the blue sky breakout, you get a trend lag, but that's why it's so hard to like know exactly when it's going to happen, because it tries. Everybody tries to jump on these breakouts, and that's why they tend to fail for a while anyway. Oh yeah, DAX still strong. Euronext still looks kind of more like the AEX. CAC 40's weak. Went to that trend line though perfectly. By the way, China is looking interesting here too. HK, the Hong Kong. Higher lows. Everybody's freaking out about China too. I know the Shanghai's in rougher shape. That's probably getting down to double bottom. It could anyway. But I'm starting to see like real fear start to creep in, which I haven't seen since early 24. So watching these guys here too in the foreign markets. And oh, and by the way, the other thing too, I know I talk about this all the time, but you know what? There's another thing that a question that needs to be answered, right? So where was all the carry trade people in December of last year? Why didn't the carry trade blow up? Where's the VIX at? Why didn't the VIX go to 70? We're at the same spot. So, like I said, I think it's all just leverage short vol, and that doesn't sell a story, so you got to make it something else. Yeah, I think traders are very short the dollar too. And actually, it's funny you just mentioned that. Just popped really hard on the yen. I mean, that to me, I mean, actually, technically, that's a fake breakdown. If I was trading ES, I would buy that right there. So you swept the low with no follow through, and on you had, in this case, you had bear news, and you ripped back up. I can already tell you there's going to be an RSI divergence, so you can just see it, right? Feels to me a lot like the 10-year is doing the same thing, right? And I think oil is kind of similar as well. Not so much in the RSI, but yeah, this whole like short commodities, long gold, long bonds, short dollar. I think that's it's just it's already wound up, and you're already. I mean, like it's not like the Fed's doing a surprise cut that nobody knows about, right? So. Yes, as Bob's saying, I can't see how a 50 cut wouldn't be seen as bearish after initial pump, and 25 as initially disappointed, then recovery. My thoughts. I think so too. Yeah, if they cut 50 tomorrow, they're just admitting they should have cut 25 in July, and they're admitting that they screwed up because they're basically admitting that like, oh wait, we were there's something on the horizon that we didn't see coming, and now we have to get in front of because we're behind. It's just not good. I talked about that extensively last week. The amount of times I had I had like a whole list of it, and it was like the amount of times that they've actually cut by 50 or more. There was only 2 times where it wasn't in like a financial crisis. It was like there was like we had the stagflation and recessions in like it was like 70 or 74. There was 2 times there. It wasn't financial crisis, but it was not a good time for the market. And there was like 1 in 90, I think 1 in 98, and then every other time was 1987, GFC, and COVID, and .com. At like every other time. So yeah, I don't see why all these talking heads in media. The market wants 50. The market wants 50. Are you sure? I don't know about that. Thanks, Sebastian. So about you saying, why is palladium ripping and all the other PMs not moving at all? I think it's catching up. But palladium's also it's kind of like a byproduct too. It's harder to so it's kind of on its own. It's like the crazy uncle of precious metals. But I think it's a catch up though too. So like you're buying gold this whole time. This is also a very valuable metal, and I think it wasn't pumping while everything else was. But now it's got to catch up here. But yeah, I think that's the move. I think that was it there. Yeah, there's too much debt. That's the other thing too, is they keep talking about rates are going back down, they're going all the way back down. But um, there's this person. I don't know if you guys know her. Her name's Janet Yellen, and she's not slowing down at all. She might be getting older, but she's not slowing down the issuance. And that's the real tailwind for yields. I'm not saying yields, and I never said yields can't go down, but they have higher floors for exactly what the exactly reason you're saying. And that's going to be the real kicker too, is when they figure that out next year, that the economy's slowing down and yields aren't really slowing down like they should on the on the long end anyway. Ocean asking about Nova, solar, right? I believe this is actually a really good tight bull inside bar pattern textbook. Yeah, that's a really strong daily pattern. It went into, like right here, consolidated, and a good pop. Let's just say, we'll just say it can get to 13 for now. That's just like short term. So the reason I say that is because those pivots right there, and then that big sell, um, sell swoon right on top of that. It's going to run into that. Let me just see if there's a. Come on. There we go. Yeah, so you're going to retrace. Then you got a 786 right up there. Yeah, so 13 and change. That's a good pattern, though. The reason I asked about solar is this is a political play on the election. That could be. Actually, somebody brought that up in the trading room earlier on. I think we were talking about end phase. Yeah, because end phase was popping today too. Yeah, so this would be like obviously like a Democrat outcome. It could still run anyway into the election. So these like sensitive, like politically sensitive sectors can just run in, especially since they're heavily shorted. They can run into these like known volatility events like the election. Because institutions are so short, they start hedging, they start peeling off, and you get big moves. Marijuana stocks, same thing. They're known for doing that. But yeah, oil to a degree too. A lot of people short oil right now, right? You know, so, but yeah, that chart, that's a really nice pattern. Oh yeah, I'd say 13 and change. You asked about UGI. Don't know too much about this. It's kind of neutral at the moment. We've just been kind of in a chop range here. Let me see. This is kind of at the lower end here of. I get a bigger picture here. So this is a big level here. Yeah, because it took you from 05 to took you 7 years to break through that. So it's probably got a floor for now, just offhand. But when you come down to a big level like that, this was a good reaction, right? Immediate. Like there's no waiting, no wasting time. This looks to me like buyers are kind of like lackluster. Like they're there, but they're not saying give me that at that price. This is a discount. Right? So they're kind of like they're not defending it, how they should. That said, it is trying to firm up a little bit, but I just don't. You got to get above 26. It's just kind of been in a range here. If it sticks in that range long enough, it'll, eventually it could break through that this level here. It'd probably take a while, but I would say it's probably got a floor down there for now, but I don't really love it here. Okay, Tozy saying Blackstone thinking good relative downside if real estate financials, etc., take a hit tomorrow. They could, yeah. I just wouldn't. I'm not saying you can't get a quick trade out of it. I'm just saying in terms of just at face value, I wouldn't have tried to short double top if that's what might have been on the thought there. Just because of how we we put in those higher lows there and we consolidated, we'd gone straight up, from here. Then yeah. But yeah, I mean, financials are they have had a big run, excuse me, into the FOMC as well, so they could pull back. I definitely can't rule it out. Oh wait, sorry. Oh, King's saying, you think VIXY will pop tomorrow or next week? I think there's a good chance it could pop tomorrow for sure. There's definitely a catalyst for it. I think that vol here is probably really cheap. In fact, I was looking at a few things earlier, just going out, even 4 months. These calls are really cheap on the VIX. Usually not that, $3. And you kind of have a pattern here where it's kind of hooking up, kind of curling back up a little bit. Again, I prefer VIX futures. But yeah, it's got that, it could get I just think there's a lot of uncertainty with how this outcome is going to go. I also think even if we pump, I think the VIX, if we pump up, to 570 or so, I don't think the VIX is going to go down that much. I don't think it. I think it'll get we'll get that set up where it spy up, fall up. You also, another thing too, I was just talking to members about this, but everybody's September is the worst month. September is the worst month. And if you remember, I said this in the beginning of the month. I said, it feels like these people are just front running the September seasonality with this sell off here, because that's all anybody would talk about that day. Well, do you guys know that the actual time of the year that does that where all the negative returns come are the back 2 weeks of September, not the beginning. Why is that? Because you have this big fat quarterly OPEX right here. And does anybody know what today, or excuse me, what tomorrow is? Speaking of volatility, tomorrow is a very special day. Yep, Lurks has got it. Yeah, Vixpiration. Not a birthday. No, yeah, it's Vixpiration. So you mean there's I definitely think we could see volatility. Definitely think so. So I'm not saying like we're gonna have a huge fall Mageddon, but there's given where it's priced right now, I think a really it's really cheap to hedge your tail here. Low risk, pretty good reward. Oh, you're welcome, Tozy. Yep. JK saying, so you thinking chop till end of year? No. I think we will I think we're in for some grind here over the next couple of weeks, maybe month. And then we should resolve from there. But yeah, next couple of weeks though, I think they're still going to be kind of grinding it out. Yeah, Sebastian. Yep. Yeah, gold going up is not a good thing, honestly, in terms of like gauging the health of things. Okay, yeah, it might. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna go too much higher from here in the near term. Sergio saying, I'm new to the stream, so not to your channel. How do you see crypto climate this week? I haven't been following the. I mean, I follow Bitcoin pretty closely. Right now, the only other alt I really like, as far as the big names, is Solana, and that's more just kind of like a big picture. So I'll just give you like my big picture here, like all this stuff here that's been going on the last 6 months. This is all just it's noise, like it's a grind. It's Bitcoin right now. Everything inside of here is noise. But what it's doing right now is, to me, it's just putting in a massive weekly base. And I don't know about you, it looks like a bull flag to me. So I think right now, in the near term, like this, and that goes for alts too, it's really noisy. But you start breaking above 64, I think it kind of gets interesting. Because there's really not much past 69 after that. That might not happen right away though. It could have a little bit more time on the clock, but yeah, I just see this as a cannon getting ready to get fired. So, but this week, nice bounce here, 1, 2, 3 pullback, and then it got a bid. See what it does on FOMC. I'm interested because Bitcoin's been choppy for a while. It hasn't been a very high, hasn't had a high correlation to a lot of things. So I'm interested to see how it behaves on FOMC. But I'm not bearish. Yeah, it's Ozy saying like in China, Neo, SE, Baba, yeah, ugly, and yeah, Neo actually, it's actually not bad. This I have a member ask me about this every week here, and so we got above the 200, and you got an inside bar. So we hit the double bottom, popped, got upside to 6, maybe 650. We couldn't get through this area. Came down, and now we're back up here. It's not bad. Baba's firmed up too. Warning: every time I say Alibaba's firming up, it's stops doing that immediately. But it's definitely got a good weekly base here. And I think these stocks, like these companies are trading, their PEs are like 9. It's like insane. And I mean, yeah, they're, their economy's deflating or whatever, but so you're telling me they're just going to dump liquidity into the system again? Usually not bad for stock. Yeah, SE is actually holding up nicely. This is not bad on the weekly either. That's actually pretty good. It does a couple more weeks of that. I think that can really go. Yeah, those are definitely better. Okay, yeah, they popped on the bit. Yeah, any of those politically charged sectors, you always got to be mindful of those around this time of year because they can get moved in. A lot of the time, you can find, if you know what to look for, you can find clues that they're gonna pop. So that's my I don't know, big prediction. I don't know if I should say big prediction, but I'll definitely take a victory lap if that's sure. Is NVIDIA and rest of chips done, and we go to software? I mean, I can definitely make the case for that, right? Like what? So if the market's still going to keep going up, we're going to need tech to pick up at some point, right? But if chips are done, what else is there? Right? IGV. This is, I mean, you guys know I love these bigger time frames. Like this is, man, you got to double top, right? And are you rejecting? No, you're just flagging. In fact, you got a nice monthly inside bar right here. The gap down August 5th. Look at, I mean, lately, that's all this pullback was. And then you look at SMH, look how much deeper of a cut that is. So I think, and then I know I was joking earlier, but like, maybe I'm not. Like, what if they do gamma squeeze Oracle to $1 trillion company? I don't know. Like, I didn't think that they would ever get Tesla anywhere near $1 trillion company, but they did that. But yeah, that's my, I've been pumping IGV for a while, and this pattern's really good for a breakout. So if there's something that's going to lead, it might be this. Another one we didn't even talk about today, XBI. I tweeted about this yesterday. A big ascending triangle here. That's coming back. So maybe biotech can catch up too. But I do think NVIDIA's very bloated. I think Broadcom is fine. I think ARM is fine. There's definitely some certain players in the sector that are better than others, but it'll be interesting to see how NVIDIA's next earnings reaction goes. Yeah, hit the like, guys, if you can. If we get to, I don't know, if we get to 70, I'll do something. I don't know. I'll find something. I'll find another nugget to give you guys. I'll think of something. Lurk saying, any chance FOMC has outcome that no one expects, no rate cut or 75? Probably not. Jay Powell's, yeah, Skittles got it. Jay Powell is, he telegraphs. Yeah. That, in fact, he's probably the best Fed chairman maybe of all time, at least that I know of, in terms of like doing exactly what he says. He's not gonna, rip the market at like the last second. That's partly why I was originally like, they're not gonna do 50. Like even, a week or two ago, I was like, I don't even care what the data says, like, because he's just the type of Fed chair where he doesn't want to do anything that could be seen as like too crazy, right? When they started hiking, he did 25, even though CPI was at 9%, right? But yeah, I don't think he's going to do that. I think what more likely could happen is that something will happen that people don't expect, but it'll be not that. And I don't know what that is. I don't know. I definitely, so my expectation is lots of whipsaw and not a lot of resolution. Or maybe a gap and crap, but I don't think it's a gap and crap where we just like absolutely, puke down for weeks or anything like that. Yep, yeah, you guys got all that. Yep. So expiration tomorrow is gonna be interesting. Do you live in Miami, King? Yeah, you could probably get sure like Bristol Myers or somebody to, or I don't know, it was like a healthcare stock. XLV's doing good. Gold outperforming the greatest companies in history for the yeah, they gold and the S&P always catch up to one another eventually. Yeah, the Qs are, this is the biggest thing the bears have right now, is the Qs, when they top out, before everything else, it usually means some type of bear period is coming. So, yeah, July 19th of last year, spiders topped out on the 27th, and then obviously famously in November 2021 versus spiders, right in the first of the year. So there's definitely that. I do think there could be something around the corner. I just don't know if it's really this year. I'll tell you how, look, so I'll tell you that, I'll tell you a little bit tomorrow. I'll try to walk through, if we get to 2 more likes. I'll try to come up with something. I don't really have it, so I have a few, obviously I have like certain techniques and stuff. I have to see what the futures look like though, because I got to see like how it's firming up and shaping up, and then from there I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to look for. If it happens, that's what I want to do. Um, all right, yeah, we'll just say, yeah, there we go, 69. That's good enough. Um, I would say I would definitely consider a fade at 57 if we're up there big. Right now, you got to watch for, and again, it's going to be, we could be down here tomorrow, we could be up here. If we're below 56, or if we're below today's low at some point and it gets reclaimed, I look for false breakdowns a lot. We actually had a couple today. I mean, this would be a good example of one. Obviously, like the moves are going to be way more magnified, but you can see here we went through this big level, came down, went back up, swept the low, and then rallied back up. Those are usually pretty good trades on ES like literally every day. But I think in tomorrow's, so I guess this is what I'll give you. So I would be looking, tomorrow I'm looking for mean reversion. I'm not looking to play trends. So like I think personally, the people who are going to get killed are the people who are like trying to look for the 100-point move on either side. And I'm going to look to kind of fade that. So if I see signals that tell me, like if we're pumping up here and then we can't hold, we come back down, you get maybe a false breakout, kind of like technically right here. There's your pivot high, 5727, right? You know, we broke above that, boom, slice down, that's a failure. Right, so I would look for things like that where the move is essentially a trap and you're playing the trap. Well, there's certain like proprietary techniques I use, but you know, if I see those, I'll take those. But as far as like the game plan, that's what I'm looking to do. Level wise, yeah, if we got to 57, I would consider, you know, a fade. We'll have to see what it looks like when it gets there, but I would definitely consider a fade. Because it's sitting there like that. It's there. It's been there for a while actually. So those 570s, and they're probably gonna assign there. So short. They're probably gonna assign short stock up there. I would assume. But yeah, tomorrow basically the game plan for me is, yeah, not looking for trends. And then, you know, if I get, you know, like let's say we go short, right? I leave a runner or two. If I get a trend after that, well, cool. But yeah, I'm not trying to hit a home run tomorrow. I think way too many people are trying to do that, and I think it's going to be tough. King asking about, can you buy leaps on VIX without decay? No. No, there's way too much. You can on the VIX. In fact, they're probably not even that expensive. Let's see, May 25. Yeah, these are pretty cheap. So I would just do it on the actual VIX. You want to go out. Mood asking about Ford. I haven't looked at Ford in a minute. I'm not in love with the big breakdown here. Yeah, that's a really big slice there. Decisively through that support. It just cut right through it. So here's your resistance, like 1150. You got a higher low off that bounce. I'm not sure what this fib is for. Let me just get rid of it. But yeah, you got to bounce that double bottom. I like how you open below the. I like when you open below that pivot and then you closed above it. I always like that. I'd say right now 1150 is going to be a wall on Ford. But it does have a higher low, so that's the positive there. Yeah, Tozy's saying some of the semis looking oddly weak. Yeah, they've all been kind of soft. I think TSM looks okay. Broadcom looks fine. But yeah, KLA a little bit weaker. AMAT's definitely weaker. Lam Research, yep. Yeah, trend is down now on that. I might be doing, Lurks, I might be doing, we'll probably do another fall special. You can pay, so at some point I will. But it definitely pays itself off, so. Tozy, yeah, so you know your stuff. And Hughes can't outperform anymore since dispersion trade broke with the August fiasco. If I can get my core chart up here. But yeah, I just wanted to look at this. Yeah, it's still, so, and here's, we were talking about the VIX a few minutes ago. I mean, here's a good endorsement for the VIX. It kind of looks like the VIX, doesn't it? There's a reason for that. Yeah, so you got higher lows here on this. So that dispersion was definitely, you know, and when I had the Russell earlier this year, which is like easily our trade of the year, um, in the trading room, this I was like, even I was not so sure if this was going to work, but as soon as we got the that news in July, I was like, okay, well, even the Qs can just like kind of back off a little bit. I did not think we were going to pump that hard on the Russell, but I knew why it was doing it, and it was like, wow. And everybody was all confused. Why are the Qs down? Like, because the Russell's up. That was something that really stumped a lot of people who have been in this market longer than I've been alive. One thing I will say though is that, and I talked about this in one of the videos I did like a few weeks ago. It's like a special video, but into the end of the year, that August fiasco could be the bull case into the end of the year, because this is fresh in everybody's head, and so any sort of downside we get, I think people are going to get scared very quickly, which could, you know, lead to max fear very quickly. So there's the other side of it, but you're right. The dispersion trade's definitely not what it was. All right, nice. I haven't asked about wheat. Yeah, wheat's come off the lows. Somebody asked me in the member stream a couple weeks ago about it, and I said, well, you got a tail. I was like, if you want to put a stop below the low on a weekly close, you're good. And it ended up being the low. I did not pick it up, but this is I usually do my work on ZW. Yeah, if this can get back above 6, I think this can run. It's gotta do that first. But for the WEAT, yeah, pattern's not bad. We went like into this box here, where we're consolidating though. So let's see, it's probably got upside to like 540, 545. And then if you can get through that, the good news is you didn't build any resistance on the way down. So you can go up just as fast as you came down. And that's kind of how wheat works. But yeah, got to get through this area though. But yeah, it has come off the lows. It hit a big level. Hey, now I'm asking about Google. You know, Google might have Google stopped sucking for like 5 days. Yeah, I did not like this chart when we were bouncing here. There's the August low. Look how soft that bounce was compared to like everything else, right? But it is back above the 200. You did close back above the breakdown bar today. Back above the 20. Let's see the weekly. You know, that's not bad. You know, it looks, the daily looks like crap right now, but the weekly, I mean, you could make a case it's just sliced back to this, and that's really all it did, right? I mean, it just sliced back to the to retest that breakup, whatever that earnings or whatever that was. Trend is still nicely up. So I'm saying the big picture, I mean, actually, you know what? Forget that. All you did was retest the previous all-time high, right? We'll say that. So yeah, it looks, you know, it's been weak lately, but yeah, if this holds here, I mean, you would look at this in a while and be like, oh, it just back tested the high and then it went back up. Not bad. There is some, I'm gonna say like, you got some like congestion up here, but it's definitely had a night. I've noticed that the last couple of days definitely been a lot better, especially intraday too. So keep an eye on that. Oh yeah, no problem, JK. Yeah, as long as we're having a good time, right? Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you. Awesome stuff. Yeah, that is. Yeah, yeah, 77 or 75. That's pretty good. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. All right. So yeah, so we're going over a little over an hour. Any last thoughts we can go through here? We'll do a last call. Again, tomorrow. You know, it's FOMC. So yeah, we broke back of this, and we're yeah, futures are closed. They open in a minute, but again, tomorrow morning, obviously not going to do anything. So we'll just go sideways for that. Yeah, my kind of thesis is just expect traps. And I think anything that's routed is likely to mean revert, meaning bonds, dollar shorts, gold potentially. I would say oil, but it already kind of has. So oil's already like rebounded to the 20 MA, so it's no longer oversold. Doesn't mean it can't still go up, but yeah, it's amazing to me how many trades were super one-sided all the way up into the FOMC, and the yen too, dollar yen. That's an interesting candle again, right ahead of the FOMC. So that's kind of what I'm looking to do tomorrow. And again, yeah, 570. That's kind of like all I see. And the downside, that this would be max downside for Friday right now is 550 as of right now, unless they close out all those options, which they probably won't. But all right, cool. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. Again, thanks everybody for coming out. Good time. Good discussion. Always like to do this. I always say I try to do them more often than I never do, but we'll see. All right, but anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Again, thank you guys all. Again, if you like the content, you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Looking for trader services, carnivoretrades.com, Discord, all the good stuff. We do live day trading, swing trading. But yeah, anyway, with that said, again, you guys take care. Have a great rest of your evening or wherever you are in the world, and I will see you guys all after the FOMC tomorrow. All right, guys, take care.